Brought to you by Penguin.
The Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, with an introduction by Yanis Varoufakis. Read by Leighton Pugh. Introduction. A hard spectre to silence.
For a manifesto to succeed, it must speak to our hearts like a poem, while infecting the mind with images and ideas that are dazzlingly new. It needs to open our eyes to the true causes of the bewildering, disturbing, exciting changes occurring around us, exposing the possibilities our current reality is pregnant with. It should make us feel hopelessly inadequate for not having recognized these truths ourselves, and it must lift the curtain on the unsettling realization that we have been acting as petty accomplices, reproducing a dead-end past. Lastly, it needs to have the power over a Beethoven symphony, urging us to become agents of a future that ends unnecessary mass suffering and inspire humanity to realize its potential for authentic freedom. No manifesto has better succeeded in doing all this than the one published in February 1848 at 46 Liverpool Street, London. Commissioned by English revolutionaries, the Communist Manifesto, or the Manifesto of the Communist Party as it was first published, was authored by two young Germans, Karl Marx, a 29-year-old philosopher with a taste for Epicurean hedonism and Hegelian rationality, and Friedrich Engels, a 28-year-old heir to a Manchester mill. As a work of political literature, the Manifesto remains unsurpassed. Its most infamous lines, including the opening one, "A spectre is haunting Europe, the spectre of communism," they have a Shakespearean quality about them. Like Hamlet confronted by the spectre of his slain father, the reader is compelled to wonder, should I conform to the prevailing order, suffering the slings and arrows of the outrageous fortune bestowed upon me by history's irresistible forces? Or should I join these forces, taking up arms against the status quo, and by opposing it, usher in a brave new world? For Marx and Engels's immediate readership, this was not an academic dilemma debated in the salons and cliques of Europe. The Manifesto was a call to action, and heeding this spectre's invocation often meant persecution, or in some cases, lengthy imprisonment. Today, a similar dilemma faces millennials. Conform to an established order that is crumbling and incapable of reproducing itself, or oppose it at considerable personal cost, in search of new ways of working, playing, and living together. Even though communist parties have disappeared almost entirely from the political scene, the spectre of communism driving the Manifesto is proving hard to silence. The delicious irony. To see beyond the horizon is any manifesto's ambition, but to succeed, as Marx and Engels did, in accurately describing an era that would arrive a century and a half in the future, as well as to analyze the contradictions and choices we face today, is truly astounding. In the late 1840s, capitalism was foundering, local, fragmented, timid, and yet Marx and Engels took one long look at it and foresaw our globalized, financialized, ironclad, all-singing, all-dancing capitalism. This was the creature that came into being after 1991, at the very same moment the establishment was proclaiming the death of Marxism and the end of history. Of course, the predictive failure of the Manifesto has long been exaggerated. I remember how even left-wing economists in the early 1970s challenged the pivotal Manifesto prediction that capital would nestle everywhere, settle everywhere, establish connections everywhere, drawing upon the sad reality of what were then called third world countries. They argued that capital had lost its fizz well before expanding beyond its metropolis in Europe, America, and Japan. Empirically, they were correct. European, United States, and Japanese multinational corporations operating in the peripheries of Africa, Asia, and Latin America were confining themselves to the role of colonial resource extractors and failing.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?